right, welcome to today's episode of Tomorrow's Leader, where we dive deep on all things leader-related, everything. You've heard some fantastic stuff over the last few weeks. I've had guests on that have been tremendous. I love hearing stories because people remember stories. They don't always remember points. But I always ask guests about stories, and we've had some fantastic ones. So I've had guests on that have talked about amazing turnarounds of organizations and talking about the importance of being transparent as a leader and how they've led themselves through adversity or change, and they've led other people. We've talked about vision and the importance of communicating that, and we talked about everything from self-discipline to emotional competency, all kinds of great stuff. So if you haven't gotten a chance, go back, listen to some of the episodes. We got more great ones coming up. Today I wanted to talk about one of the characteristics of the best leaders, and this is not just leader related, but I think if you look at any field and any sport, any industry, that the people that are at the top of their game have one thing in common. They have a few things in common. But one thing that they have in common is they all have, for most of their career, if not their entire career, have always worked with coaches. And it's amazing to me because I talk to tons of people, and there's the better leaders that I talk to are always people that embrace this philosophy entirely. But there's still some people that I don't understand, but they feel that they're better off just kind of figuring out on their own. And I just want to spend a little bit of time today. I want to share with you some thoughts around what makes the top people so good, and one of those being that they invest in themselves. And and what I mean by that is they invest in a coach or somebody to actually provide them with some advice, some outside development, aside from them just going through life and bouncing off walls and trying to figure it out on their own. And this is the perfect time to be doing this because you've got everybody in a very almost stationary mode, and we're all in lockdown. For those of you who are watching this maybe a different time, this is mid-April in COVID season here in quarantine. This is the time where you want to be investing in yourself. And what I will tell you, a few different thoughts. If you think about, and again, you think about any industry out there, you think about sports, athletes, gymnasts, basketball players, they all have coaches. You think about anybody who wants to be a singer, they have a coach. An actor has a coach. I mean, literally anybody, any industry that wants to get great, they have somebody working with them. And it's no different if you want to be a great leader or you want to be great at leading your own life. You always have to have someone. And for my whole life, for my whole career, I've had different coaches and mentors, and sometimes multiple. And sometimes I relied on them differently for different things. I had Peter Velarde on here a few weeks ago, and he's been my coach over the last 6 years. Fantastic things that he has helped me provide, and I'll share some different examples as we talk today. But I also, as you get higher in business and having led organizations, the higher up that you go, some people would say the better you become or the higher up you go, the less you need it. It's absolutely the other way around. The higher up you go, the more you need that type of advice and outside coaching. There's a few things that they provide to you. One is I just think about experience. So if I am working with someone who has 20 years experience and I have 10, let's say, of business experience, I now have someone who's in my corner, who's helping me make decisions, who's helping me take the right steps, that has 20 years of different experiences that I might come across and I might face, and different challenges and decisions that I've got to make or interactions that I've got to have with people or challenging strategic decisions or leadership opportunities that they have faced. And they now can impart their wisdom of that 20 years of experience on me. They've been in just about every situation probably if I hire the right person. So I've got that added experience, and that in and of itself, I could just end this podcast right now and say, okay, that's the soul. If that's the only thing you get is that additional amount of experience now plugged into your brain and the way and helping you lead your life and make decisions, then awesome. You get every penny multiplied by 1,000 that you've invested in that coach. So think about that. Number one is the experience that you get. And I can tell you firsthand, I've been in situations, and I might have run it by Peter and say, hey, here's the situation I'm dealing with. I'm trying to do this. And he'll draw back from an experience he had that was very similar. Now, maybe he did the right thing. Maybe he didn't. But either way, it doesn't matter because he knows from the outcome of that what the right decision is and can give me that advice. And if he, in the course of a year, saves me from making 2 or 3 really bad decisions because of that experience he has, fantastic. I have now leapfrogged ahead of my progress otherwise if I were working on my own. It's now probably sped up and taken me to a year where it would have taken me 3, 4, 5 years to get, just because of the value of that experience. So I can't emphasize that enough. That's point number 1 is the experience. What ties in with that, obviously, is just the ability to make better decisions. I think on one of the previous podcasts I was talking about, might have talked about with somebody else, that is it more important to make good decisions or more important to avoid making bad decisions? And I would argue it's more important to avoid making bad decisions, because most of the decisions that we make, if you've had some success in life, that means you've made more good decisions than bad. But one really bad decision, and you've seen this in different examples of life and companies that have made strategic bad decisions that put them out of business. You've seen people maybe in your life or in your career that made one bad decision. Maybe they surrounded themselves with one person. They got into a really bad relationship and had sent their life in a totally different direction. Maybe they took a job that was a bad decision. Maybe they made a decision in a work situation that cost them a promotion or caused them a demotion. Whatever it is, maybe it was a bad financial decision. Those really bad decisions tend to be the things that really hamper our growth, even more so than anything else. And that's where a coach, just the ability to bounce ideas off and run different situations, because what I find is that I may be so focused on something and I will convince myself sometimes of a specific outcome. And because of that, the data that I'm using to make that decision it's really biased, right? We actually have a tendency to believe what we want to believe and don't see the things that don't support the decision we're trying to make. So if I really don't want to run today, and today is my day to go out and run 5 miles, well, I may very easily process things that may tell me running is a bad decision today. Well, it's starting to get dark out, it's dangerous, cars out there, it's cold, I can run tomorrow, and I may not see things that would support me making the right decision. So my point is, an outside coach can help me look at things from a 360 point of view. And I will tell you, having been in those situations before, there have been times where Peter or somebody else I might have been working with said, hey, you know what? Did you think of this? I'm like, wow, you know what? No, I didn't. That's important. And that changes this outcome pretty drastically. I didn't think of that situation, or I didn't think of the ripple effect or what that might mean to this other part of the organization or this other person. And sometimes that outside influence is exactly what you need. Okay, so that's the second thing, just helping you make better decisions, that bounce off ideas and brainstorm different scenarios. The higher up you go, here's another reason too. The higher up you go in an organization or in life, the fewer people will actually give you unsolicited feedback. It's just the way it is. It shouldn't be that way, but that is the way it is. I know in running organizations, I had very few people, unless I asked for it, that would give me feedback and say, hey, you know what? When you talked at that meeting, that was great, or that wasn't so good, or here's what you should have said, or here's how I felt when you said it. Now, if I've asked, I've gotten that. But generally speaking, the higher up you go, the less feedback you get. A coach is somebody who can give that to you. That's what you're investing in them for, right? Tell you exactly how it is. You want to hear not just the good stuff, but you want to hear critical feedback. That's the way you're going to get better, right? So that's another benefit of the coach. They're going to give you feedback, and they're going to know your goals and exactly what you want to achieve. And they're going to be able to see things from a different perspective and give you that outside feedback that, again, you're not going to know it about yourself. Again, if I'm an athlete, if I'm trying to become a great golfer, I want my golf instructor watching my swing. And the reason why is because I can't watch my swing. I may feel like I'm keeping my arms straight, but I'm not. He'll look and say, hey, you know what? Or she, and say, you know what? You're a mess. And here's a video to show you and prove it. Okay, so that coach is going to be somebody that's going to spot the things that I don't see. We all have blind spots. Every single one of us. Everybody has blind spots. So again, any one of these things that I'm talking about in and of themselves are great reasons, if that was the only reason, are great reasons to hire a coach. Here's the other thing that happens. When I make decisions and when anybody makes decisions, the number one reason that we tend to make bad decisions is because emotions get involved in our decision making. So, and it doesn't even matter if it's positive emotions. I mean, if it's you're overly excited about something, or overly confident about something, or you're overly optimistic or euphoric, your tendency to make bad decisions goes up dramatically, as it does when you have extreme negative emotions. I might be anxious, stressed, frustrated, angry, scared, panicked, depressed. All these emotional states put me in a really dangerous place when it comes to making decisions, financial decisions, relationship decisions, business decisions, life decisions, anything. And what a coach can do is take away that emotional factor, right? They're not tied in. They don't have the emotions. And they can help in the sense of also making better decisions because they don't have any emotions tied to the situation that we're going through. Granted, they might have compassion and empathy, but they certainly don't have the level of emotion that you do. Okay, so that's another benefit for hiring a coach. Here's another thing that comes. I know that I have gotten specific opportunities because when I've worked with a coach, I keep bringing up Peter, but like Peter, he's connected me with people that can help me in other areas of my life that I would never have been connected to without him. I know all of the people that I've worked with and that have certainly over the last few years been really great advocates for me, have been people that have been connected to me from someone. He certainly has connected me with people. So you're bringing, when you're bringing a coach, you're bringing his or her resources, not just their brain power, but the people that they're connected with, the resources that they have, the tools that they have, everything that they have up their sleeves, in their back pocket, in their file drawers, everything. That's what you're also getting access to as well, right? So let's talk about one other thing that you get that everybody needs. I don't care who you are, what position you're in. I don't care if you're a teacher, if you're a parent, if you're president of the United States, if you're a CEO of a company, and that is accountability. Okay, everybody needs accountability, some level of accountability. And there's something magical that happens when you look somebody in the eye or you're talking to them over the phone and you tell them, okay, here's what I want to do, and I want to do this, and I'm going to commit to doing this. I have a heightened level of responsibility and accountability. For some reason, we are all able to let ourselves down, and we will let ourselves down more and easier and faster than we will somebody else. So that makes sense. It should be the other way around, but that's human nature, right? So if I involve somebody else in my goals and my coach is working with me, then yeah, I've got this level of accountability. I know I've got my call with so-and-so on Monday, and hey, I said I'd have this done by Monday. It might just be that little push that gets that task done. So in one given week, is this going to really make a difference? No. In a month, yeah. In a year, definitely. In 3, 4, 5 years, you're on a whole different planet, right? You're on a whole different level than everybody else. And all it is because you've decided to invest in yourself. The reason people don't hire a coach, what's the number one reason? It's money. They don't see, okay, I don't want to invest. Well, you're not investing. You're not spending money on somebody. You're spending money on yourself. What better investment could you possibly make, right? If you get in a coaching relationship, you don't like it, well, guess what? You get a different one. But it doesn't mean coaching is bad. You got to find the right person, the person that is understanding, that understands you. You may want a certain personality style. You may want something from that relationship specifically, and set the expectations up front. But I encourage you, for those of you who have not, this is a perfect opportunity. I coach lots of people, and I know that many of them have never used anybody, have never worked with anybody before, and it's a whole new experience. And I get it. Anything new is going to be a little tough to do, and the benefits come not typically immediately, although there are some things you feel immediately, but you'll see them over time. Okay, again, the secret of life, just do the things that the most successful people do and that unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. Well, guess what? Getting a coach is one of those things successful people do and unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. You don't have to break the bank. Find somebody that's reasonable in your price range, but know that every dollar you invest, if you implement, is going to come back to you tenfold, 20-fold, 50-fold, or 100-fold. It's the best investment you'll ever make. All right, that's all I got for today's episode of Tomorrow's Leader. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. These are on YouTube. You get to see my smiling face and everybody that I bring on this show. Make sure you share it, put some comments, and make sure you take some action. All right, thanks, everybody. Have a great day.